Hey guys, it's me David and welcome to the very first segment of building Crait. So this is week one of the third giant mock or diorama that I'm doing here on my channel. This is awesome. I mean, I'm so happy that you guys have supported me from Kashyyyk to Scarif and now Crait. This is like when I first started Kashyyyk 2, 3, almost 4 years ago now. I had no idea it was going to span off in this direction, and that this was what was going to be the thing that really becomes what my channel is, and that's what it has been. I get constant emails, and when I meet you guys in person, everything is almost always about the mocks, and I couldn't be more happy, guys, that I'm getting all this amazing support from all of you. And if you're new to the channel and you're new to all of this, well, welcome. You're missing out. Check out Kashyyyk and Scarif. Those are my previous giant Lego dioramas, and now Crait, being from Star Wars The Last Jedi, will be the third. Now, so let's just get right into this, guys. Crait. What is Crait? So I actually have some images right here. If you for some reason haven't watched Star Wars The Last Jedi, or haven't watched the trailer at least when you're watching this video, I understand a lot of people will probably come back to week one after they've seen The Last Jedi, so some of you will be like, well, the movie's already out. For when this video is being made, the movie isn't out. Unfortunately, we have 3-4 weeks from when this video is being recorded till when the movie's released, so there's gonna be a couple things that slow us down until that point. But anyhow, from the trailer, this is the images I could capture. This particular is a pretty good example of what Crait is. It's basically this, it's a salt mining planet. Everybody thinks it's a snow planet like Hoth, but it's actually all this white, what looks like snow is actually salt particles and stuff like that. And that's why these crystal foxes, that's the salt sticking to their fur. That's what you're seeing right here. The red dust that you see from the AT-M6s and the AT-AT walkers from the battle, that is from the red underlying dirt. That is the dirt of the planet. It's like nice and red. So this is awesome. This is honestly a really cool mock to make because of such the contrasting colors of red and white. And then you also, of course, with this base here, the resistance base, you get these the gray tones as well. So covering some interesting color tones in terms of the artistic standpoint of things. So it's a very interesting planet. It's a very interesting battle. Again, as I'm recording this, I have not seen Star Wars The Last Jedi, so I haven't seen what goes down in that battle. I haven't seen what the outcome is. So I'm guessing everything for starting off with this. Now, I'll talk more at the end about how I'm going to guesstimate things and how I'm going to do this within the first like 3 to 4 weeks, and we'll go from there. The big elephant in the room that I want to talk about, this is very important, and if those of you who haven't seen it already, Lego actually contacted me this previous summer of 2017. They contacted me saying they wanted to do an interview and they wanted to like record my Scarif mock and all this. They were basically telling me about this whole campaign they're going to be doing for the Lego community and covering like big Lego creators that are well known among the community, and I was honored to be one of the first to do this. And so that video is out on YouTube. I'll play it right now. I honestly can't thank you guys enough. If it wasn't for you guys, this wouldn't happen. Literally, this is one of my biggest goals, and I can check that off. I've been doing YouTube for 9 years, and it took 9 years to get official recognition from Lego. The actual company Lego, I actually got to work with them alongside a third-party studio for the interview, and it was an amazing experience. I want to, just say that Lego and the studio I worked with, they were all awesome people, and I couldn't be more honored to be interviewed and have them do this. They actually did this really amazing, like really awesome like camera angles and shot my Scarif mock in a real cinematic way to cover it. and it's honestly the best way to exit Scarif out. I know a lot of you are wondering what happened with my previous mock. There was a finale video, but there was not a kind of like covering all the details and stuff like that. I might put one out eventually, but the Lego one, I honestly can't match that in terms of the quality. So if you haven't already, go check that out. I'll leave the link below if you want to see kind of like that really awesome action Scarif thing. And then of course there's an interview alongside that of me. Again, really awesome. That video is on YouTube. That video has been on Facebook, Instagram, and I believe it's on lego.com as well, which is insane. Again, that recognition from Lego has been a dream come true. That is something I've always wanted. Let's talk about Crait now. Again, I'm trying not to take too long here with this video, but Crait will be a 4-foot by 7-foot mock. We'll have 28 gray base plates. It's actually the same size of the Kashyyyk mock that I did. So what you're seeing behind me here is this is kind of where it's going to be. As the video goes on, I'll talk more about that. And then what you'll see on the sides here is I actually have already gone to the Lego store and started purchasing Lego bricks. I made a video, I believe it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, talking about what the next mock is and announcing that Crait is the next mock, of course. I also said purchasing minifigures off my own website, Minifigs for You, helps fund these mocks, and I honestly just want to quickly say thank you to everybody who has bought minifigures from my site. If you want to check those out, the link's below. But because of that, I have been able to start buying so much parts, and you'll get to see just a little bit here in the first segment, first episode. You'll see some of the parts that I've been buying, and it's not even like a tenth of how much Lego this mock is going to require. It's gonna be huge. I'm gonna try to make it bigger than Kashyyyk. That's how big this mock is gonna be. This Crait mock, I feel like, is that next step that I wanna take from Kashyyyk and not only make it bigger in a way, but also make it more detailed. That is a key aspect that you're gonna see throughout this series of Crait. All right, guys, let's get into the videos. Let's go. All right, guys, getting into the first building Crait segment. As you'll see, I've made a giant purchase from the Lego store. I went up there today actually, and I purchased 12 pick-a-brick cups, and I filled them just as much as I can. I did make a couple mistakes. There's some, especially with this one, you can see some air holes there that I should have filled with more Lego bricks. So I made a couple mistakes, but I tried to fill them as best as possible. If you guys didn't know, there is a method to filling these pick-a-brick cups and getting the most out of them. They're $16 in the US, and they're a pretty good deal actually, depending on the parts that you're buying from the Lego store. If you're buying bigger parts, say these are 2x6 red bricks right here. These things, you're not getting as much value out of the cup. Depends on the brick. The little parts like these, I bought a lot of these slope pieces right here. These will be so useful for the ground and the rock work that we're going to be doing. Those, on the other hand, you get a lot more value out of these. I also think this one, I bought a lot of 1x2 bricks, and they also had 1x4 plates. There's some very useful parts. And then here you'll see this kind of cup. You'll see that these are 2x6 plates in the red, and you'll see that I stacked them up because you actually, I know it doesn't look as much as if you had like a pile of them, but I'm telling you when I say this that these equal a lot of Lego. It doesn't just it just doesn't look like much. And then you can kind of see some of the other parts I got. A lot of it's very similar. I think there's some 2x4 bricks and some red bricks mixed in. You can kind of see what I got here. I'm trying to find, there is one, where is it? This one, I should again filled in pieces, but I got these 1x6 by 5 panel bricks. Those will be super useful in the mock. But this is a good starting off point as all of this. I'm gonna empty all of this out later on, and we'll see this in either week 2 or week 3 where it's all sorted out. But this is a good start. Guys, this isn't even like, I wouldn't even consider this a tenth. I'm saying that this isn't even 1 out of 10 of all the parts I'm gonna need. This doesn't even cover it. This mock is gonna be from this table to the end of this table from this point all the way to that Millennium Falcon down there. Now there will be one more table, so imagine this table, another one right there. That will be their next segment, and that's going to be the size of Crait. That's how big this mock is going to be, guys. It's going to be huge. It's going to be, if not the same size of Kashyyyk, if not bigger. So this is a new challenge, and all of these parts is a great start. This is going to help us really kickstart things, but this doesn't even cover a tenth of what we're going to need. Speaking of more parts, I think I showed these in the announcement of the mock video, but I do have some red slopes. These are new. These came in, some 1x6 bricks and some more 1x2s. Now this is something I want to talk about next segment. We won't delve into this too much. I have been prototyping some things, particularly this ground right here. This is something we'll talk about, but I've already kind of started. I'm not even really liking this, but again, this is something we'll cover in the second segment, but I also have some parts for that, and I've already started experimenting in that end of things. Quickly, I just want to show I got some of these new brick heads. That's cool, but what's really cool is the Rey and Kylo Ren. I believe this, at the time of this video, this set hasn't even come out, and same with this one. Both of these will be reviewed very soon if you want to check that out, but those are really cool. Of course, you know, Rey and Kylo Ren, they're going to be huge in The Last Jedi. Now going over here, I've printed out some images on some matte paper, so it's not really reflective, which is a good thing for videos. But these images, the reason why I printed out is because it's so much easier to look at prints than it is to look at a computer monitor, because of reflections and sometimes color saturation won't be as good as a print. So I highly recommend, if you can print out things, I would do it when you're building your mocks. It actually, you can notice some things that you don't notice on a computer monitor. It's important that you do that. All right, so Crait. Honestly, we don't have a great picture of Crait. I mean, this is a pretty good idea with these five images, kind of cover the bases, but not everything. We don't have a clear picture of what this base looks like. Obviously, we can see there's a very big base right here. Again, you can kind of see it. It's this big door that opens and closes. That will be in the mock. And you can kind of see it right here, particularly. You can see that it's like this area, I assume, I wish these weren't here, these skid speeders or whatever they're called. I'm sure we'll get a set of those real soon. But yeah, anyhow, this is where this and this are at right here, is this little section right there. So we don't know how tall it is based off this. It doesn't look super tall, which is a good thing. And then you have these mountains in the background. It's gonna be fun building mountain work again, if you guys remember how torturous that was for me in Kashyyyk. But anyhow, yeah, so we don't have the greatest idea. This particular image is the most helpful, I would feel like, in terms of what this base kind of looks like. You can kind of see that there's vehicles and you know, there's like elevators and stuff like that. Lights will be a big thing. I think I'm going to use lights in this mock because you can kind of even see them right here. So that's important. And what's nice though is it's a very flat area, so that makes things a little bit easier. I don't have a picture, but there's trenches, these trenches where these things are at, right here. These turrets, and there's trenches that kind of run along those. So that's Crait, and all these parts are going to contribute to making this. Now, the second thing I want to talk about this segment is the design, and we'll go to that right now. All right, guys, so here's what I'm thinking. All right, so this is my final plan. Let me actually show you what I was kind of working on first. This was my first image right here. So this is, let me actually bring my images in. This wall right here is what I consider this, the big base door. That's what we'll just call that. This is the big base door right here. This is kind of where the mountains are. Again, that's what this stuff is right here. So this is the mountains right here. And then what I'm thinking is you have this interior of the base right here, and then I'm thinking all of this right here could be little rooms. There could be like probably at least 2 or 3 stories. So you could have like one room, then the second floor, another room. So we're talking 4 rooms on each side. Could be more, could be less, depends. That's what we're seeing here. So what you have from this point to here, this is all open space. Now this right here, this it's kind of like big line right here. This is what I consider the trench going along here. And then these things right here are these turrets. These things right here. That's what I'm thinking in terms of the turrets. So turrets, trench, big base wall. The mountains are right here. And then these X's, the dark X's are the ATM-6s. The light X's are the AT-ATs. So the first order troops are moving that way, and the resistance troops are obviously moving this way. And the intersection of the battle is probably going to be around here. Now we could add more ATM-6s if necessary. If 4 or 5 isn't enough, we can add up to probably 7. Again, but the ATM-6 is what the problem with that is, and we'll talk about this either in the second segment or third segment, is whether we want to use the Lego one or whether we want to enhance the Lego one, or if we just want to make our own that's much bigger, because the ATM-6, the Lego version, is severely off scale, at least compared to the Lego AT-AT. So there's some things we have to work around with that, but that's something that kind of doesn't have to do with the plans. That's something we have to focus on later. Now, the big thing here is, from what we can tell, let me bring in my other images here. What we can tell from these images is that there's a lot of space from, if this TIE fighter is right here, then there's a lot of space between the base and these ATM-6s. So we're kind of squishing things together in this right here with this design, with this layout. Let me bring in this, I did introduce the idea of this where the big base wall is aligned. So basically the 2 directions are going this way. This is, well, I would consider this the horizontal, and this is the vertical design right here. Let's just write that down, vertical and horizontal. So we have our vertical design and a horizontal design. I don't particularly like the vertical design, not because the advantage and pro to the vertical design, or the version 3 of this design, is that you have that open space that's necessary for the battle, that you have that much more open area, and you can have a lot more action going on right here with the I don't know what these are called. I'm sure there's a name already, but I'm just going to call them just light skid speeders. So there's a lot more area between the ATM-6s and the skid speeders. I'm pretty sure those skid speeders are what goes down in the battle, takes them down, and I'm sure the resistance will probably win. Who knows? I haven't seen The Last Jedi. But anyhow, that's the advantage. The disadvantage is you're cutting off these mountains on the side here, and you're cutting off the fact that, you know, if we look at these images here, you'll notice, I mean, of course, it's the aspect of the film itself that's very cinematic and wide, but I feel like this particular battle should be wide. It should have this cinematic look. With this, you're not going to get that. You're going to narrow things down. With this design, you're going to have, I'm going to be able to get a picture similar to this right here, versus with this, you're not going to get that as much. So that's the advantages with this, is you're getting, I feel like, more true to the look of the battle is true with this. However, you're losing probably the reality of the space here. Now, in a perfect world, we would add probably 2 more base plates here, making this 36 base plates would just be ridiculously insane. I would do it if I had the space, but unfortunately, this room isn't big enough to hold a mock like that. And also the pieces, man, that'd be something though. Having a mock that's that big, that'd be huge. But that'd be, of course, the ideal, you know, scale of doing it. Unfortunately, we're limited to what we have, to what I have. So we just have to work with it, basically. I think this design is probably the way to go. But I want you guys down below to vote. Let me know what you think. This is version, okay, so this is version 1 right here, and this is version 3. So, down in the comments, I want you guys to vote. Version 1, version 3. I'm pretty final, so let me bring in this. This is kind of like the nice looking one. This is the final one. I call this version 2, but honestly, version 2 and version 1 are the same. So just say version 1 or version 3. Vote down below in the comments. I'm pretty set on this design. But if you guys vote enough of version 3 and you really are adamant on going with that design, then I'll reconsider it. But I'm pretty certain that I'm going to go with this design. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. So again, we have the AT-M6s here, we have the base right here, and we have the trench here, our gun turrets here, and again, we're going to have these cool rooms, we're going to have this kind of base, and I'm sure we'll have like a, you know, have the skid speeders or whatever they're called kind of lined up in here and, you know, flying out, and then we're going to have a nice big action battle right here. It's going to be awesome. I think this mock will be significantly cool in a lot of different ways. That red dust that we get, bringing back the images here, I'm going to try to emulate this in Lego. That'll be an interesting attempt to do that, but I think it's possible. So this is what I'm thinking. This is my idea for this mock, and I hope you guys like it. I will reconsider this design right here if you guys really insist on going with it. But for now, I think this is what we're going to do. Again, I did this with Scarif and I did this with the Kashyyyk. I basically just went into Word document and created just a simple spreadsheet graph with the squares being gray base plates and kind of figured this out. So it's 4 feet by 7 feet. That's not the exact dimensions. It's probably like, I don't know, 40 inches. No, not even 40 inches. It's probably like 49 inches by, I don't know, 6 feet and 10 inches. But those are the numbers. It's just easier to sum up things. So this is what I'm thinking, guys. Oh, and the red dots here, the red arrows or whatever, dots. The red arrows, that's just signifying where the tables break up. Also, another thing I just want to point out now is that I'm going to do this in the way I did Scarif, where 2 base plates are connected. So these will be connected, these will be connected, and so on and so forth. So that way it can be taken apart and moved. It won't be easy to move because that's a lot of sections, but it's possible. It was actually very nice to have the movable sections, not just for moving purposes, but if I just wanted to rearrange things or just, you know, have to move the mock and use the table that I need to use, that was possible. I don't like having it all connected. It makes it so hard to tear apart and so hard to move around. So I will be doing sections by sections, connecting it with Technic pins like I did for my Scarif mock. And if you guys haven't seen Scarif, you'll basically see how I do these sections as the series goes on. All right, well, that's what I'm thinking, guys. Let's head out into the end of the video. I think this is a good start, so let's go. All right, guys, so we took a look at all the parts. That was very cool. And then we also took a look at the building plans, or the, you know, kind of the architectural plans, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, so I do want you guys down below in the comments. I'm like 99% sure we're gonna go with version 2, the final version that I came up with. I feel like version 3, I believe, that, I don't know, I just don't like that. I feel like I'm just repeating Kashyyyk with that design because it's very similar in terms of the layout. It's very long. I feel like the much more wide approach makes more sense, especially with, you know, with these images here. You have these wide angle images, cinematic images from Star Wars. I feel like it only makes sense to make the mock wide and not narrow. I feel like that's an important thing, and I really want to have this type of scene right here with these AT-M6s, where you have that, you can see the mountains and you can see the AT-M6s. I feel like this is key for the mock, so I do still want you guys to vote. You know, I will reconsider using version 3 if all of you really want it that badly, but I'm pretty set on the one that I've considered the final version, but I do want to hear what you have to say down in the comments below. So please let me know. yeah. Now, in terms of what are we going to be doing the next 3-4 weeks until the movie comes out? Okay, so first off, you'll notice that I am missing a table, and I pointed that out a little earlier. I'm missing a table, so we don't actually have the full coverage to even start building necessarily. I mean, we do have 2 tables right now, and I could start building, but I want to wait for that 3rd table. I actually just went and bought that table from IKEA. And so now that I have that, right now it has to get a coat of lacquer, and it has to be sanded down, then it has to get its coat of lacquer. That's what both of these tables go through. And once that's done, which will be like 2 days from now, by next segment, week 2, I'll have the 3rd table in, and I'm gonna clear out those shelves back there, and we're gonna make space for this mock. And I believe I have enough gray base plates around here, at least, that we should be able to cover the entire table with gray base plates, and we can start like taking the final design, if all of you agree upon it, then we'll start outlining it and kind of actually getting a much better idea of what this is going to look like. Again, I have the Lego AT-M6. That's kind of questionable whether I'm going to use that or not because of the AT-ATs that are used in the film too. Do I want to make a bigger AT-M6? Those are all questions we're going to be answering in the next 4 weeks. Is what we're going to be going off of in terms of scale. How big do we want to make the base? How tall should it be? You know, how far does the battlefield need to be? How big do the trenches need to be? There's all these different things that we can question and start to experiment. There's plenty of design elements that we can start on. We don't have to directly start building the base right away. We can wait until the movie, because I really do want to wait to the movie before I really start laying out everything so perfectly and really starting to layer it up. There's other things we can be doing between now until the movie comes out. And you know, a lot of this might not matter if you've already seen The Last Jedi. Of course, hopefully by then you can just go through the segments real quick and to the point that I've seen it, and then we can really start diving into the actual mock and laying down like firm sections and such like that. So that's what we're going to be doing over the next couple weeks. This is just the first segment. We have a lot more to go. This is just the start. So thank you guys so much for watching. Stay subscribed. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe below. You're going to want to see this thing progress. It's really cool. You can ask all the fans that I already have how awesome it's been watching these creations come to be, and having you guys learn from me of how to make these giant things yourself if you want to do it. All right, that's going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week for Building Crait. I hope you guys have a great and wonderful day. Bye-bye.